welcome back to World Crisis Radio. In the meantime, of course, you should always be looking at tarpley.net. We have a new analysis up on Tiny Tim Geithner's trip to Beijing, the attempt to export depression into China with a policy of competitive devaluation of the U.S. dollar. That's what it means. If you upvalue the renminbi, you're downvaluing the U.S. dollar. That's competitive devaluation. That's beggar my neighbor. That is what the British did in the 1930s. Franklin D. Roosevelt wisely said, no way to the British when they tried to suck him into that at the London Economic Conference of 1933, which he wisely boycotted and blocked the British plan to export the depression to every point in the compass. So tarpley.net, you'll also see an essay there about the fall of empire, and the thesis is there's one standard graveyard for empires or great states in general, died of oligarchy. In the case of the Soviet Union, died of nomenklatura oligarchy in that system, the party, government, KGB, and other oligarchs in that system. And, of course, in our system, the oligarchy is financier oligarchy. When they say the market and investors, it means that gang of thieves, Wall Street, whose pictures and names and biographies you should now know by heart, right? Bernanke works for Diamond, for Blankfein, for Mac, for Pandit the Bandit, and so on down the line. We saw some of them. Again, these characters came out from under their rock for these hearings of the Financial Investigating Committee, right? The one that we've seen this week. We'll get back to that in a minute. So Bernanke wants blood. Bernanke wants to take your economic rights away. You've paid into Social Security and Medicare all your life, and Bernanke wants to cut it. Notice that he can operate to some extent under the cover of anti-government rhetoric. All the people out there saying, down with government, yeah, right, down with Social Security, down with Medicaid. And you come in there as a flanking operation, giving aid and comfort to Wall Street as they attempt to impose their deadly, and I'm talking deadly in the sense of concrete human beings dying, their economic policies. Now, in terms of what to do, well, helpfully, on Tuesday, White House advisor Paul Adolph Volcker, him, the man of the 22% prime rate, highest interest rates in 2,000 years, according to Helmut Schmidt of Germany at the time, Volcker wants higher taxes, but not just any tax. He wants a European-style sales tax known as the value-added tax. What is the value-added tax? Well, in most European countries, it's 17, 18, 19, 20%, which is already included in the price of everything you buy. There's something like this in Canada. I think that's the goods and services tax that was such a horrendous development under Mulroney, the infamous Malrené, back in the 1990s, in the era, I guess, of Bush the elder. So Volcker wants the VAT, the VAT, the value-added tax. And, well, that's deadly. Again, that's a regressive tax. That's a tax that cuts into the necessities of the poor, the amenities of the middle class, and does not touch the luxuries of the super rich. In a modern society, under modern civilization, taxation must be progressive, not proportional even, and certainly not regressive. And this VAT is about the worst thing you can do. So therefore, if you get into arguments with people who want the VAT, you better have a counter-argument, and we do. It's called the Wall Street sales tax, the Tobin tax, the securities transfer tax, the financial turnover tax, the trading tax. You can call it whatever you like. It's the Robin Hood tax. And now I'm have to report that the British election is on. The Gordon Brown regime with Alistair Darling and company, they are going to the voters now. On the other side, David Cameron, the public relations slickster, a Tory reactionary. So we have, in effect, the corporate state with bailouts against the promise of more bailouts, but this time also with an extremely draconian policy. This guy, Cameron, is another candidate to be a new Bruning. He wants to be an austerity dictator. That's the direction. The only positive thing going on in Britain right now, and I hope that it comes to the fore rapidly. I urge people to get busy over there. It's this Robin Hood tax. It's the Wall Street sales tax, in this case, the City of London sales tax. And to the extent that that emerges as a big theme in the British election campaign now over the next 4 weeks, and I'll try to bring you some reporting from the ground if I can, that will then kick over here into the United States. So we'll get an alternative on the table. We want to say no to the value-added tax Wall Street speculative turnover, not even profits. I don't care whether they make profits or losses. With their complex models of Black-Scholes, derivatives, and all the rest of this, they can make up stories that they're losing money. No. We want to tax turnover. If you sign a derivatives contract, that's reportable. 1% goes into the public till. So the bankers pay for the oppression which they have created. So we've heard from Bernanke. He wants blood. Volcker, another little Hjalmar Schacht of our time, he wants the value-added tax. And now let's not forget another little Brüning, this time the one with his helicopter beanie with a propeller on it. Peter Orszag, director of the White House Office of Management and Budget. Let me just read what the Wall Street Journal says about him on Thursday. The administration, they paraphrase, has taken steps towards deficit reduction by signing a health care overhaul with a commission meant to rein in Medicare costs. Ooh, a commission meant to rein in Medicare costs. Gosh, that is IMAC or Super MedPAC, or both, depending on how they actually institute this chaotic bill. The Medical Council is this IMAC. This is the idea. Of this is to tell you which medical technologies are considered cost-effective. That is to say, will they pay for you? Will you live? Will you die? Surprise! It's a death board. It's a death panel. It's genocide. They gave $1 trillion to the banks from the Treasury, and between the Treasury, the FDIC, and the Federal Reserve, it's thought to be in the neighborhood of about $24 trillion, according to the most recent accounting. And now they're turning around and saying, "Well, we gave Wall Street what they needed. Now we're gonna essentially pay that debt off by taking blood and the lives of the American people." And that's Orszag. That is his specialty. This is the guy who wants no pap smears, no mammograms, no PSA tests, no medical tests in general. Orszag has declared war on medical tests, and that's what the IMAC or MedPAC on steroids is going to do. And Orszag then goes on to say that Obama has created this fake commission. This is now the Erskine Bowles, Al Simpson commission that will make recommendations for deficit cuts. And he says this is necessary but not sufficient, so hold on to your hats. It's Brüning time, an austerity dictatorship of the most brutal type. Back in a minute.